Then Moses called for all the elders of Israel and said to them, "Go, select lambs for your families and slaughter the Passover lamb. You are to take a bundle of hyssop and dip it in the blood that is in the basin and apply it to the crossbeam and 2 doorposts with the blood from the basin. None of you may go out the door of this house until morning. Adonai will pass through to strike down the Egyptians, but when he sees the blood on the crossbeam and the 2 doorposts, Adonai will pass over that door and will not allow the destroyer to come into your houses to strike you down. Also, you are to observe this event as an eternal ordinance for you and your children. When you come into the land which Adonai will give you as he has promised, you are to keep this ceremony. Now, when it happens that your children ask you, 'What does this ceremony mean to you?' You are to say, 'It is a sacrifice of Adonai's Passover, because he passed over the houses of Bnei Israel in Egypt when he struck down the Egyptians, but spared our households.' So the people bowed their heads and worshipped. Then Bnei Israel went and did it. They did just as Adonai had commanded Moses and Aaron. So it came about at midnight that Adonai struck down all the firstborn in the land of Egypt, from the firstborn of Pharaoh sitting on his throne to the firstborn of the captive who was in the dungeon, and all the firstborn cattle. Then Pharaoh rose up in the night, he and all his servants and all the Egyptians, and there was loud wailing in Egypt, for there was not a house where someone was not dead. So he called for Moses and Aaron at night. And said, "Rise up, go out from my people, both you and Bnei Israel. Go, serve Adonai as you have said."
The hand of Adonai was upon me. The Ruach Adonai carried me out and set me down in the middle of the valley. was full of bones. He led me all around them. Behold, there were very many on the floor of the valley. Behold, they were very dry. Then he said to me, Son of man, can these bones live? I answered, Adonai Elohim, you know. Prophesy over these bones. He said to me, said to them, Dry bones, hear the word of Adonai. Thus say Adonai Elohim to these bones, Behold, I will cause Ruach to enter you, so you will live. I will attach tendons to you, bring flesh on you, and cover you with skin. Then I will put breath in you, and you will live. You will know that I am Adonai. So I prophesied, just as I was commanded. As I prophesied, there was a noise. And behold, an earthquake. Then the bones came together, bone to its bone. I saw, and behold, there were tendons on them. Flesh came up, and skin covered them above, but there was no breath in them. Then he said to me, Prophesy to the Ruach, prophesy, Son of man, and say to the Ruach, Thus say Adonai Elohim, come from the four winds. Then he said to me, Son of man, these bones are the whole house of Israel. Behold, they say, Our bones are dried up, our hope is lost. We are cut off by ourselves. Therefore prophesy and say to them, Thus say Adonai Elohim, Behold, I will open your graves. I will bring you up out of your graves, my people. I will bring you back to the land of Israel. You know that I am Adonai, when I have opened your graves and brought you up out of your graves. My people, I am the Ruach in you, and you will live. I will place you in your own land, then you will know that I am Adonai. I, Adonai, have spoken, and that I have done it. It is a declaration of Adonai.
When Martha heard that Yeshua was coming, she went out to meet him. But Miriam sat in the house. Martha said to Yeshua, Master, if you had been here, my brother wouldn't have died. But I know even now that whenever you may ask of God, he will give you. Yeshua says to her, Your brother will rise again. Martha said to him, I know he will rise again in the resurrection on the last day. Yeshua said to her, I am the resurrection and the life. Whoever believes in me, even if he dies, shall live. And whoever lives and believes in me shall never die. Do you believe this? She says to him, Yes, Lord, I believe that you are the Messiah, Elohim, who has come into the world. After she says this, she left and secretly told her sister Miriam. The teacher is here, and he's calling for you. As soon as Miriam heard, she quickly got up and was coming to him. Now Yeshua had not yet come into the village, but was still in the place where Martha had met him. The Judeans who were with Miriam in the house and comforting her, seeing how quickly she got up and went out, followed her. They thought she was going to the tomb to weep there. So when Miriam came to Yeshua, to where Yeshua was, she saw him and fell to his feet. Saying to him, Master, if you had been here, my brother would not have died. When Yeshua saw her weeping, and the Judeans who came with her weeping, he was deeply troubled in spirit and himself agitated. Where have you laid him? He asked. Come and see, Master, they tell him. Yeshua wept. So the Judeans said, See how he loved him. But some of them said, Couldn't this one who opened the eyes of the blind man have also kept this man from dying? So Yeshua, again deeply troubled within himself, comes into the tomb. It was a cave, and a stone was lying against it. Yeshua says, Roll away the stone. Martha, the dead man's sister, said to him, Master, by this time he stinks. He's been dead for 4 days. Yeshua says to her, Didn't I tell you that if you believed, you would see the glory of God? So they roll away the stone. Yeshua lifted up his eyes and said, Father, I thank you that you have heard me. I know you always hear me, but because of this crowd standing around, I said it, so that they may believe that you sent me. And when he had said this, he cried out with a loud voice, Lazarus, come out.
Lazarus, come out.
He who had been dead came out, wrapped in burial clothes, binding his hands and feet with a cloth covering his face. And Yeshua tells them, Cut him loose and let him go. Therefore, many of the Judeans who had come to Miriam and had seen what Yeshua had done put their trust in him.